Hello, we are the team Pionniers de l'Univers and welcome to our making of.
The story was inspired by my trip to Poland. In a huge building of Stalinesque architecture, an old lady was in charge of operating the elevator. She was sitting in a small chair, and I thought it was kind of funny to have someone piloting the elevator. So she became the main inspiration for our movie. We developed our character designs using historical references from the early 1960s USSR.
I was one of the animators for this film with Anthony and Mathieu. In preparation for the animation, we created an animatic outlining the acting and timing using TV Paint. Then, we built every scene and shot of the movie during the layout step in Maya.
Benjamin and I were in charge of the CGI and compositing of the film. In addition to modeling and surfacing several props, I worked on the look dev of the cosmonaut and all the aspects of Masha. To translate Anthony's 2D concept into a 3D character, I added cute and juvenile details in the shapes using ZBrush, did the retopology in Maya for the animation, and made her look older during the surfacing using Mari and ZBrush.
I worked on the look dev of the general and on all aspects of Vasily. For the hair, I did a lot of technical tests to find a workflow that gave me the most flexibility. For the general, using basic curves was a good option because of his straight hair. For Vasily, I used fiber mesh to have more control over the style.
I did the modeling of the cosmonaut based on Mathieu's design. I also did some of the props and set of the movie, like the base, the corridor and training room, the inside of the modified elevator, and the cockpit.
I wanted to give a cold, stark, military feeling to our different sets, but also put the accent on the grandiloquence of the totalitarian regime. Light, color, design, shot composition, everything had to work together in order to build the strong visual identity of our movie.
On this movie, I did the modeling of the rocket launcher, the official rocket, and the modified elevator. I also did the surfacing of every element I created in Substance Painter and Designer. When I was translating the 2D concept in 3D, I focused on keeping an impression of a large scale. To do this, I used actual structure references and matched them with the artistic direction of the film.
The main difficulty was to show emotions using facial expressivity. Several scenes, especially the speech of the general, were synchronized with sound. So, we recorded Xavier, our voice actor, and then I animated and coordinated the general's movements with his voice.
Masha, the main character, behaves like a young person while still looking like an old lady. So, most of her expressivity was put into her eyes and facial animation. Considering a small frame and round shape, she could not move like the other characters and had to interact with a disproportionate environment. I shot acting references and did some animation tests to obtain appealing movements that matched her personality. Of course, bringing Masha to life also required a complete rig.
I was one of the rigging specialists on Pionniers de l'Univers. I developed an auto-rig in Pathing, both for the face and the body. It allowed me to give working rigs to the animators, even before the final models were finished. It also assured consistency in all the rigs, from the shape of the controllers to its behavior. To have maximum flexibility, the rigs were built around modules that could be added or removed depending on the characters.
I created the rig of the assets. For the elevator and Masha's chair, the interesting thing was to automate the transformation process and also give animators maximum control over all the small parts.
For the lighting of the hall, I rendered one frame for the background and 3 others for the pillars in order to have a proper parallax. Next, I did a camera mapping in Nuke. And finally, a shadow pass allowed me to choose the perfect color for the character's shadow.
Following the color cues and our references, I created the lighting of the 4th floor of the lounge space. I used white lights on warm and cool shaders to give different moods to the training room and the corridor. For this and the elevator set, because they are in so many shots, I decided to make render layer presets and the Nuke script template. I used this template as a base for my compositing work.
I did all of the effects in the movie. The main effect was the launch of the rocket. We wanted it to be dense and really detailed, while keeping the light of the reactor visible through the smoke. First, I did simulation, but that took too much time and the files were too heavy. So, I built a procedural setup which allowed me to have a lot of flexibility on the look of the smoke with really short computing and rendering time. For the music and the sound design of the film, we worked with Yanné Echavarria. Thank you for watching our making of. Das Vidania!